Welcome to the Lion's Share podcast, where we break down today's most impactful research and bring fresh insights from the academic frontier straight to you.
So I was looking at a stack of postmortems for failed startups the other day.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, and these were companies with incredible technology, brilliant engineers, plenty of funding, and they all just hit a wall. It's a classic tragedy, the better mousetrap that doesn't actually catch any mice. It just sits there, perfectly engineered, while the company burns through cash.
It really is the central tension of entrepreneurship, isn't it? We're sort of culturally conditioned to believe that the product is destiny.
If you build it, they will come.
Exactly. But the reality, and the sources we're digging into today make this painfully clear, is that a great product is, well, it's effectively becoming a commodity.
Because the tech is just easier to replicate now. The moat isn't the code.
Precisely. The real competitive advantage for the next decade isn't just the widget. It's the combination of a great product with a superior business model. You can have the best engine in the world, a Ferrari V12, but if you stick it in a chassis that can't hold the weight or, put it in a lawnmower, you don't have a business. You have an expensive hobby.
Okay, so that's our mission for this deep dive then. We are moving past the gut feeling approach to entrepreneurship.
I hope so.
We're taking some serious material, specifically the business model canvas from business model generation and these really rigorous validation methods from disciplined entrepreneurship. And we're going to dissect what the text calls the structural ontology of a business.
Structural ontology. That sounds like we're back in a philosophy lecture.
It does, but I actually love that term here. It's basically asking, what is the nature of this thing's existence? Not what does it sell, but how does it live? How does it breathe in money and breathe out value?
That's a great way to put it. We're looking at the blueprint of the machine.
Right.
How a venture creates value, how it delivers that value, and crucially, how it captures some of that value in return. And then how do we mathematically prove it works before we run out of money?
So let's start with the map, the business model canvas. I see this thing everywhere in startup incubators.
The giant poster with sticky notes falling off it?
Yes. But it's more than just office decor. It's a tool to fight ambiguity.
It has to be. The problem with strategy is that it's often so fuzzy. If you and I start a business and I say, our strategy is to be low cost, what does that mean?
I might be thinking Walmart.
Right. Razor thin margins, massive volume. But I might be picturing a discount software provider, low overhead, all automated. Those are two completely different machines.
So the canvas gives us a shared language.
A shared visual language. 9 specific blocks. It forces us to agree on exactly which machine we're building.
Okay, let's make this concrete because listing 9 blocks is pretty dry. Let's try a simulation. We'll build 2 airlines.
I like it.
Airline A is a budget carrier, like a Ryanair. Airline B is a legacy luxury carrier, an Emirates. We can trace how the 9 blocks differ for each one.
Perfect example. Let's start with what they call the front stage. This is everything the customer actually touches.
Okay, so for our budget airline, the customer segment is purely price-sensitive travelers.
Absolutely.
People who just want to get from A to B and do not care if their knees are hitting the seat in front of them.
Right, and that immediately dictates the value proposition. It's not comfort. It's the lowest possible price.
Simple as that.
Now look at channels. How do you reach that customer? If you're the budget airline, are you using travel agents?
No way. You can't afford the commission. You force everyone to your own website. You own the channel to strip out every last cost.
And contrast that with the luxury airline. Their customer segment is business travelers, wealthy tourists.
A completely different group.
So their value proposition is status, comfort, schedule flexibility. And their channels are totally different. They're deeply integrated with corporate travel systems and high-end agents.
That just bleeds right into customer relationships, which is the next block.
Yeah.
The budget airline wants zero relationship.
An automated relationship. Don't call us. Print your own boarding pass, tag your own bag, self-service.
Whereas the luxury airline offers dedicated personal assistance. A human being fixes your problem.
And that brings us to the backstage of the canvas. The stuff customers don't see, but it's where the business actually happens.
The plumbing. Key resources, key activities, key partners.
Let's stick with the airline. If your value prop is lowest price, what does your main key resource, your fleet, look like?
It has to be standardized. You only buy Boeing 737s, one type of mechanic, one type of pilot, one set of spare parts.
Exactly. Efficiency is the god you worship. Now, the luxury carrier, their key resources. Airport lounges, a mixed fleet of huge jets for long hauls, smaller ones for regional hops, a massive staff.
And their key activities are different too.
Totally. The budget airline's key activity is rapid turnaround. Get that plane back in the air in 20 minutes. The luxury airline's key activity is more like hospitality management.
And what about key partners?
The budget airline barely has any. They want control, the luxury airline. They're in the Star Alliance. They partner with hotels, limo services, credit cards. They're weaving a whole network of value.
This really shows why you can't just copy a competitor's feature. If the budget airline adds a luxury lounge,
The key resource.
without changing their price, their revenue stream, or their customer segment, the whole machine just breaks.
You get a Frankenstein model. The blocks have to fit together.
I want to pause on one type of segment from the reading because it trips people up. The multi-sided platform.
Uh-huh.
This isn't an airline. This is Uber or Visa.
And it's the hardest model to pull off. In a normal business, you sell lemonade to a thirsty person. Simple. Here, you have two distinct customer segments who meet each other.
Like a credit card, you need card holders, but you also need merchants to accept the card.
And there's the chicken and egg problem on steroids. No merchants, nobody wants the card, no card holders, no merchant will pay the fees to set up a terminal.
So what do?
You have to subsidize one side to attract the other. You usually give the card holders rewards, basically free money, to get them on board so you can then charge the merchants a fee. You are buying one customer segment to sell to the other.
That segues perfectly into the bottom of the canvas, the financials, the revenue streams and cost structure.
And the sources make a really critical distinction here that I think most founders miss.
Which is?
The difference between a revenue stream and a revenue model.
The stream is just where the cash comes from, right?
Yeah.
Like an asset sale or a subscription fee.
Correct. But the model is the strategy. Let's talk about freemium. Everybody loves freemium.
Spotify, Dropbox, it feels like a no-brainer for growth. But the reading suggests it's a financial trap.
It's a math trap. Think about it. In a freemium model, 5% of users who pay have to subsidize the server costs, the support costs, all of it, for the 95% who pay nothing.
That puts huge pressure on your cost structure.
Immense. If your cost to serve a free user isn't nearly zero, you will literally grow yourself into bankruptcy.
Okay, another model mentioned is the bait and hook, the razor blade model.
Nespresso is the perfect modern example.
Right. You sell the coffee machine for basically nothing.
Maybe even a loss. That's the bait. The machine is a key resource that now sits in the customer's kitchen. But then you sell the pods, the hook, at a 600% markup.
So the business isn't selling machines.
The business is selling an addiction to convenience.
This brings us to what might be the most important equation in this entire deep dive. The litmus test for whether any of this works.
CAC versus CLV.
This is where the dreams of the front stage meet the cold, hard reality of the spreadsheet.
Customer acquisition cost CAC versus customer lifetime value CLV.
So let's break down CAC. The text argues that startups are chronically optimistic about this. They think, oh, I'll spend $5 on a Facebook ad to get a user.
That's the marketer's fallacy. The text says you have to be holistic. CAC isn't just the ad spend, it's the salary of your sales team.
The software you use to track leads.
The graphic designer who made the ad, the travel expenses for the conference where you set up a booth, it all adds up.
And onboarding. If it takes a person 2 hours to set up a client's account, that labor is part of the acquisition cost.
Exactly. And when you add all that up, your $5 customer might actually cost you $250 to acquire.
Wow.
Now, you look at the other side, CLV. How much profit do you make from them before they leave you?
And the rule of thumb is a 3-to-1 ratio, isn't it? Lifetime value needs to be 3 times the acquisition cost.
Ideally, yeah. Because you still have overhead, R&D, taxes. If your ratio is 1-to-1, you're basically a nonprofit. You're just churning money.
And churn is the absolute killer here, the leaky bucket.
High attrition just destroys your CLV. You can have the best marketing on earth, but if customers leave after 2 months, the math just collapses. No amount of venture capital can fix a broken unit economic equation.
So we have this beautiful canvas. We've mapped out our airline or our app. We have a hypothesis about our CAC and CLV. But right now, it's all just a hallucination.
It's a map, not the territory. You've drawn a lovely picture of a mountain, but you haven't actually climbed it yet.
And this is where we bridge to that second methodology.
Yeah.
Validation. Specifically, step 9, the next 10 customers.
Yeah.
This part fascinated me because it seems so small. Why 10? Why not 100?
Because you can't fake 10. The goal is to move from a persona, that theoretical user X on your whiteboard, to ton actual human beings willing to open their wallets. But there's a huge catch.
The homogeneity requirement.
This is so counterintuitive for founders. They get excited if a bank buys their software and then a hospital buys it and then a nonprofit. They think, wow, broad appeal.
But the text says that's a failure.
It's a disaster. Because those 3 customers have different needs, different buying cycles, different feature requests. You end up building 3 different custom products.
So the requirement that the next 10 have to be the same.
That must be homogeneous. Same profile, same pain point, same buying process.
And this is the most important part. They have to talk to each other.
That is the definition of a market, a group of people who reference each other. If the hospital doesn't talk to the bank, you don't have word of mouth, you don't have a viral loop, you just have a series of one-off sales.
You need 10 boringly similar customers.
To prove you have a beachhead, a starting point.
Okay, so you go out and talk to them. But there's another trap, which the source calls sales mode versus inquiry mode.
This is the hardest discipline for a founder. You're passionate, you want to convince people, but if you go into these validation meetings in sales mode trying to overcome objections, you pollute your data.
You force a yes that isn't real.
Exactly. You need to be in inquiry mode, a detective, not a salesperson. If they say this isn't useful, that is incredibly valuable data.
It saves you 6 months of development time.
Right. But if you bully them into saying, sure, I'd try it, you've just created a false positive. You build it, and then no one buys.
Speaking of false positives, what about the mom test? The research calls it social acceptability bias.
Yeah, we saw this in one of the case studies. They had a list of potential customers who said they were interested, but when they audited the list,
Let me guess.
almost half were a friend of a friend.
Oh, I know Jim. He's a great guy. Sure, I'll sign up for his newsletter.
And that is toxic data. Friends lie to you because they love you. They want you to feel good. You need strangers to want this. If the only people buying are people who feel socially obligated, you don't have a business model. You have a charity run by your social circle.
There is one major critique of this whole process that I want to bring up. The canvas itself feels static. It's a snapshot in time. But a startup is pure chaos.
That's a valid critique, a very valid one. The canvas is a photograph, the business is a movie. And some of the sources discuss this. They distinguish between the business model canvas, which is the map, and the business model formula, the physics.
The physics being the variables that change every single day.
Right. Your conversion rate fluctuates. Your sales cycle might be 45 days in Q1 and blow out to 90 days in Q2. If you just stare at the static canvas, you miss the cash flow gap. You have to treat the model as a living thing.
So you update it.
You should be updating your canvas every week, crossing out hypotheses and writing in new facts.
It's interesting when you look at it this way. The product is actually a pretty small part of the puzzle.
It is, and that is the hardest pill for most innovators to swallow.
Okay, let's wrap this up with some synthesis.
Yeah.
If we boil all of this down, the frameworks, the boxes, the math, what are we really looking at?
We're looking at a machine designed to convert value into revenue. That's the core of it.
Wow.
You have the front stage, the promise you make to the customer, and the backstage, the operational reality of keeping that promise.
And they have to be aligned.
Perfectly. Your job as a founder isn't just to write code, it's to align those two stages so the machine produces more energy than it consumes.
So if someone's driving to work right now with a business idea, what is the one thing they should do differently after hearing this?
Do the math on the back of a napkin.
Right now.
Right now. Forget the pitch deck. Write down your estimated CAC. Be pessimistic. Assume it costs a lot. Then write down your CLV. If the CLV isn't at least 3 times the CAC, stop. Do not build the product yet.
Innovate on the model first.
Exactly. Can you switch from one-time sales to recurring? Can you change your channel to lower the CAC? Fix the equation before you build the solution.
I love that.
Yeah.
Fix the equation before you build the solution.
It's a lot cheaper to use an eraser than it is to fire a sales team.
Before we sign off, I want to leave everyone with one final thought. We tend to celebrate product innovation, the new iPhone, a new drug. But some of the biggest wins in business history were business model innovations.
Absolutely. Look at Hilti. They make high-end power tools, drills, saws. For years, they just sold drills to construction companies, a transactional model.
Okay.
But construction companies don't actually want to own drills. They want holes. They hate managing repairs and theft and all of it.
So Hilti changed the model.
They stopped selling tools. They started selling fleet management. You pay a monthly fee, Hilti gives you the tools, services them, replaces them instantly if they break.
Same grill, same product.
Identical product. But the business model shifted from transactional sales to hardware as a service. And it completely locked out their competitors. It changed their revenue stream, their customer relationship, their key activities, everything.
So the question for you listening right now is this. Are you banging your head against the wall trying to make your product 10% better? Or could you unlock 1,000% more value by just changing one block on your canvas? Maybe you shouldn't be selling the drill.
Maybe you should be selling the whole. That's the real deep dive.
Thanks for listening. Go fix your models. We'll see you next time.
Thanks for tuning into the Lion's Share podcast. If you enjoyed today's discussion, share it with a friend and join us next time for more ideas.